What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. I'm your host, Mike, joined tonight by my co-host and teammate, Austin Butcher. And last weekend was the 2024 NAWCQ, and the top cut for Ultimate Time Wizard was actually quite diverse this time. So we're going to kind of go over the different decks that topped this event, talk about them. Do we feel like the deck that won was actually the best deck among them? Talk about the lists, and kind of just do like a little bit of NAWCQ review. Unfortunately, I was not able to get out there. I really wish that I was able to get there. There were so many good players, so many people. I had a lot of messages on Discord asking, was I there? And so sorry that I couldn't make it. I did a mini little giveaway because I couldn't get there. I actually gave away 2 Collector's Rare Honests to the highest placing Lightsworn list. So probably a week before the tournament, I put in all the Discords. I was like, hey, since I can't get there, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give both of these cards away to the highest placing Lightsworn player. So it's like Christia Sworn, Lightsworn, or Twilight Sworn. So you can't be playing Vayu with Raikou and say this is a Lightsworn deck, right? So that way it was kind of like I get to just give someone a little something extra. And the highest placing one was 15th place, Twilight, which was actually Frozen Soul, who has done several episodes of the podcast with Frazier, and he's a very, very good player. Had it been top 16, like it should have been, considering there were nearly 500 players, he would have made top 16. So he did win the Honests, and I was really happy that it was him. And let's start off with that. Why the heck was this event top 8, man? That is so insane to have that many players.
I'll never understand it, man. I mean, if Konami wants to grow the Edison, community, this is a good way to just grow it. Let it be a top 16. Or even since it's Time Wizard, maybe a top 24 with that players. I mean, you want to make people feel good. You want to, get people to come, be more incentivized. If we did a top 24 for something over 400 players, and maybe top 8 gets a first round bye. I know they're trying to save as much time as possible. They're trying to they want to be done. I get it, but you've got to invest, because if you don't invest, it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt the Edison community. It's going to hurt Konami, and you want to get more players in here. I mean, you're already killing it with the prize support. The giant card is well worth it, but you got to be more incentivized.
Yeah. I will say a few brownie points to Konami. The tournament was originally supposed to be 8 rounds, which means that some number of X1s wouldn't have made it. I'm not good at the whole breakdown thing. But apparently, this is just what I heard, some players talked to the head judge and they actually added a 9th round so all of the X1s would make it, which honestly, that's more than I would expect Konami to do for us at this point. So that was nice, at least, because it would have... Can you imagine, you play all those rounds, you go X1 and you bubble at 9th place? How defeating is that?
I would have been devastated. I mean, how would you recover from that? I mean, that salt in the wound would be there. Who would want to play after that? I mean,
I also think that the Edison community as a whole, when the top 16 threshold is met, even if Konami doesn't recognize 9th through 16th, that we should consider that a top 16, because any other tournament, that would be a top 16 finish. So that's something I wish the community would do as well.
This week I've probably seen calls than I have for 9th through 16th at other tournaments.
Yeah.
Or any other we've had this year. It seems like a lot of people are acknowledging that it's kind of a top, I guess. Or at least a really good thing, because I've seen 9th place, 12th place, all the way up to 16th, I believe.
Yeah, and 9th through 16th is really good for there to be almost 500 players. I mean, the goalpost is so far to get into top 8 with that many players. So even getting 9th through 16th, that's really, really good in a tournament of this size.
I mean, when I used to play Advanced a long time ago, there wasn't regionals this big. If we had 300 people at a regional, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And we're above the regional mark now, and they need to be doing what they can to make this grow and get bigger and bigger, and it does start with this. I mean, once again, the price support's insane for, top 3, top 4 players, but we need to add a little bit better pricing, I guess, and have more people at top tables would be, just really make this explode.
Yeah, I agree. And I've told a lot of people this, and this isn't me trying to spread misinformation. This is me just relaying what I was told at YCS Indy. Was told that Konami rewrites their public events policy during the off season every year. So maybe starting next season, if the threshold is met for it to be top 16, 32, 64, which that's a very high threshold. Hopefully, they will start doing that, and I think it will really incentivize people to actually come out and travel more to these. Like, for me, that's been a big reason why I haven't flown to any of these, because I really don't want to buy a flight, get somewhere, get ninth place, and get nothing. And even really, like, if you don't get first, second, or third, you only get a $20 rubber playmat. You only get a hamster playmat. So even the people in 4th through 8th really aren't making their money back in any shape or form.
Not at all. I mean, they should be like custom playmats with Edison Nationals or something is what it should say, top 8. It should be an exclusive mat that only you get at, Nationals.
Yeah, like, I'm also okay, like, I don't even care if it's the hamster mat that the pods get, but it needs to at least say, like, Ultimate Time Wizard top 8 on it. And I think that would make people more happy. Because for me, it's like, I don't even want to go play in pods at tournaments because I already have a hamster playmat. So, like, what do I need a second playmat for? So, like, if it was customized at least a little bit, top 8, that would make it a lot better.
And those things are just not any value anymore. I think when I first started playing, I was seeing them fetch $70, $80. On eBay now, I see them for like $40, $50.
Yeah, there's been so many of them given away now. So hopefully next season, maybe they do something a little bit more special for that. And, obviously change the playmat and everything like that. So we kind of got our rant out of the way, and we're going to go over the breakdown of the top 8 decks here. So I'm also going to give a shout out to all the players that were in top 8. These are in no particular order other than just how they were posted at the end of day 1. So Isaac was ranked number 1 with Blackwings. Second was Bronte with Frog Monarch. Third was Michael with Glad Beast. Fourth was Richard with Bayou. Fifth was William with Amaryllis. Sixth was Christopher with Amaryllis. Seventh was Austin with Diva Hero. And eighth was Hector with Blackwings. So we had a pretty diverse top 8 here. There's like, two Blackwing players, 2 Amaryllis players, and then I think those are the only duplicate decks, because the rest was Glad Beast, Bayou, and Diva Hero. So pretty diverse breakdown. Probably one of the most diverse that we've seen yet.
Oh, by far. I mean, there's 2 big shockers here to me, and I think number 1 is only seeing 1 value deck. I don't think many people would have predicted that. I think most people said you'd have had 3, 4 plus value decks in top 8. So it's nice to see, a change of flow.
I think in some ways that people have kind of caught on to value. Like, it's been in the spotlight for so long. People are like, okay, I can now play targeted hate specifically for value. Or they've been exposed to it and played against it so much that they just know how to play against the deck better. Like, I found, for me, with playing that matchup with Lightsworn, if they don't see oppression, it's really like 50-50 value versus Lightsworn for me. I feel pretty confident in that matchup. And that could have just been what it was. Maybe people sided more targeted hate toward value, or the player base in general has just played against it enough now to where they're not really getting surprised by as much as they were at one time.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think another big surprise here is, 2 Amaryllis decks in top 8.
Yeah, we were just talking about the fact that Amaryllis could have won every event, every Ultimate Time Wizard, except for, like, Richmond. I don't think any topped Richmond. So Amaryllis it's a real threat. I mean, it's a very, very good deck. It's evolved a lot. I give little man YGO, Nick Trudden, his group, like, basically the Amaryllis trophy for the way that they have just went back and forth and refined and evolved Amaryllis into what it is now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would go as far as to say it's probably the best A tier deck right now, and it could be S tier if the deck was more affordable. I mean, it's a shame that it's a locked card, I guess. Not everybody can afford, $50 to $80 per card on that, but
Yeah.
really hope reprints soon to really just see where that deck fits in the format at. I mean, it was really nice getting the substitute reprint, and frogs have kind of got more popular again. So, just
Yeah.
like to see diversity, I guess. Everybody's tired of seeing Value and Blackwing, so it's just nice whenever cards are more affordable, and it's really nice whenever we have stuff like this, like 2 Armorillas in top 8.
Yeah.
Just love to see it.
Yeah. So the one value player that topped this, Richard Novak, was actually the guy that gave me my second loss at Indy. At that time, he was on Diva Hero Beat, and I was so sad when I lost at Indy, and I didn't know that guy had also topped the previous year's Ultimate Time Wizard in Indy, and now he's topped this one. So now I'm just like, man, like it stings much less knowing that I lost to a very good player on the bubble, rather than someone that just got lucky. So shoutouts to him for being the only value player in top 8. I mean, that's very impressive. I would really enjoy to see what his bracket was that he played through that day. Richard and his friends, Eric Shin from Sack Phase and Marcus Hayden from, oh gosh, what's that guy's channel name? Hold on. I just gave them a shout out this morning. Let's see here. Their channel name is Metaphos. It's the Dueling Dojo podcast. Don't know if you've watched that, but they've all started a podcast and they uploaded an episode today about nationals. I've been listening to it, but long-winded way of saying shout-outs to him for getting there. And also Austin Deckard, who played Diva Hero, is Enraged Peacock. Don't know if you know who that is, but he's a pretty well-known player in the Edison community, and he kind of brought Diva Hero back. We haven't really seen much from Diva Hero in a long time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with value and oppression. I feel like that deck just crumbles to oppression. And a lot of value players have went back to playing double oppression, unfortunately, and I just think that deck's so explosive. Like, Diva Hero is just, it is insane. When it gets going, it's just going, but oppression
Yeah, that's... I lost to Ty, actually playing the same list as Enraged Peacock. I guess they had collaborated on a list for this tournament. I lost to him at the 1K we went to last weekend, and I just got completely obliterated by like Dark Armed and Return for the Different Dimension. So I agree, the deck is very explosive when it goes off. If you don't have something like Oppression, like you're probably just getting OTK'd.
Oh yeah, and I mean the deck can do so many different things. Like it just puts so many different crazy OTKs on the board, and I mean it's just hard.
Yeah.
So it's a deck that I would love to see get a little bit more popular, and hopefully Value can continue this downward trail, and other decks can just kind of make its way in.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a breath of fresh air to see stuff like that. And even though I'm not a fan of the deck, I hate playing against it. I despise it. It's nice to see Gladiator Beast finally like rising up and proving that they're not a meme, that they're actually a good deck. We've been seeing the deck top a lot. We have a couple local guys that are big into Glad Beast, Josh Johnson, Chase Simpson. They're honestly insane with the deck. They make that deck look like it's S tier, like 100%. So for the deck to kind of creep in, top Indy, now it tops a 500-person tournament. It's very impressive for Glad Beast to be getting there. So, I mean, I feel like the potential has always been there. People just didn't believe in it. They kind of just thought the deck was a meme. And also the absence of Hero Beat has kind of given that deck the chance to rise up and see some more play.
I think it is the new Hero Beat, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people cracked the deck. It actually won a tournament not long ago. It got first and third. I can't remember exactly what the tournament was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like a 50 or 60-man tournament, though. And then for what it done at the last two big tournaments here for Nationals and NAWCQ, I mean, people crap on this deck, but it's actually really good. It's when it's steamrolling, it rolls.
Yeah, and when that deck does what the deck's supposed to do, which is that deck can do so many different things. It's not just like summon Laquari, set 5 and pass. That deck can outgrind you, and that deck can pressure you with back row, and it can also pressure you with monsters. And it's very strong because that deck does not care about Royal Decree at all. Like, as a Lightsworn player, I need Decree in that matchup, and it is so bad in that matchup. It never lands, it never resolves.
It just surprises me that it gets like no respect. Like, you watch people's ranking videos and they try to put it in like C tier,
Yeah.
and they all these other crazy decks like fairies and zombie hero something, and I mean just all this other weird stuff above it, and you're just like, no, like GBs is a thing. It's real. It's doing a lot more than a lot of these.
Yeah, I feel a lot of that is like false influence. People just really don't want Glad Beast to become a popular deck. And I get it. It's frustrating to play against. It's like the one deck of the format that has its own recyclable counter trap that's just negates and destroys a monster effect anywhere. You know, like I said, Royal Decree is not good against it. Setting cards isn't good against it because of their Test Tiger and Prisma, all those things, Gazaris. So, I mean, I'm glad the deck has gotten out here and just proved it's not a deck that you should just be laughing at and say it's not real, because it's definitely very real.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really excited to see where it goes. It's kind of doing what I was hoping Zombies would do this year. Zombies just kind of fell off, but you know, I love GBs, love seeing it do good, so hopefully it can finish out strong for the year.
Yeah, most definitely. And so the winning deck list was Frogs, and it was not a variant of Frogs that we've really seen before. Like, this was playing Death Frog, this is playing Fishborg Blaster, Triple Dupe Frog, Flip Flop Frog. It's very different. Siding Kaikos, siding Light and Darkness Dragon, and I really thought if a Frog variant topped, it would be Hero Frogs, because I feel like it's probably like the most solved variant of Frogs. It's a safe deck. It's a very, very good deck. But I was very surprised to see a build this different top this tournament.
I think we all were. I mean, it's so crazy that it took people this long to realize, you know, Flip Flop Frog and Fishborg are just broken, especially Fishborg. Fishborg is just insane. It literally gets banned 2 formats after this.
Yeah.
And the card pool is just a little bit different, but the card is just insane. I mean, you can just infinitely bring it back as long as you got fuel for it. But, I mean, a 1-star tuner, it's insane. And then Flip Flop, the fact that he doesn't target, that's just really busted against a lot of decks.
Yeah, some of those decks where if you set up Dupe Lock with Flip Flop, they're just getting normal summon locked every single turn, and they can't do anything to like get ahead. That can be very devastating for me as a Lightsworn player at times. Like, if you just can't get anything to stick, and they just bounce you every single turn, it gets very infuriating very quickly.
It's crazy, and the fact that they can bring out their little frog and destroy a back row, and they can just run you through, you know, all your resources, and then when you finally have something, they have a big old handful of resources they've been just sitting on.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's insane.
The inclusion of Death Frog is really strong as well. Like, it's a 1900 frog that you can substitute into, but also lets you make level 6s with Fishborg.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, kudos to him for thinking about this, and then for the side deck, I mean, that's just, you know, I'm really proud of. I mean, hopefully it's not a one-trick pony. I think it's here to stay. It seems really good. I love seeing Fishborg come back like this, and then Light and Darkness Dragon. I love that card. So anytime somebody can play it, I'm a big fan.
There are matchups where if you just resolve Light and Darkness Dragon, it's like the rogue matchups. They can't do anything to answer it. They would have to burn their entire hand just to get it off the field. And, like, obviously, I don't really know if you want to main deck Lad because of stuff like Vayu and the Frog Mirror, but stuff like Hero Beat, they can just really struggle to get over Light and Darkness Dragon without having to just go hard neg with it. So I think that was a really good call as well. Also, the one of Jar of Greed in the main deck was a card. When I saw that, I was like, why is this in here? And why is it not Legacy? But it was very smart in a lot of ways, because once you activate Jar, they just assume you're on multiple Jar and multiple Legacy, so I think that was really big brain. I don't know if that was his reasoning for playing that, but That's what it seems like to me, and I think that's really smart.
Oh no, 100%. Now people aren't going to want to blind MSTU or blind Icarus or anything like that. They're going to start hitting all your monsters and stuff, and I mean it's just really good. I mean the scare factor for that is well thought of and well rounded.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So that deck was pretty wild, and I'm glad that something so unique won the tournament. I'm really just glad that it wasn't Vayu this time.
100%. We're all so tired of seeing Value just win majority of the stuff.
Yeah, I was actually hoping for a completely different deck to win this time. Like I would have been okay with Amaryllis. I would have been okay with Diva Hero. I would have been okay with Blackwings. I would have been okay with Glad Beast. I kind of just wanted something different to win. It's still strange that we haven't seen Blackwings win an Ultimate Time Wizard yet.
It is. I don't know. It doesn't make sense because it's probably the most represented deck in every tournament. But yet
Yeah.
Value's the way to win. And I just don't get it. I mean, it's becoming like the hero beat mean, I guess. Like it can get to the finals, it can get to top 8, but it can't win.
Yeah. We actually talked about this in the car on the way to the 1K last weekend, why Blackwings haven't won one of these. And most of the time, Blackwing is like the gateway drug to Edison format. Most new players pick up the deck, they think it's very autopilot. You don't really have to think. And it definitely does get hands like that, where, I'm like, oh, I opened up Whirlwind Shura, Icarus Judgment, Trap Dust Shoot, and those are the games it's basically impossible to lose. Like, that game's decided before you even put your cards on the table. But there are also games with Blackwing where you're fighting for your life because you've only drawn Kalutes and Blizzard the entire game. So yep. I think that there's just a surplus of just bad Blackwing players that only know how to play the deck when it's like very obvious how you play the deck. And that can carry you through like these very short tournaments, but when you start sitting down playing 8-9 rounds, you're going to play against people that are really good at the game, and you're going to get put in situations you've never gotten put in with the deck before that you don't really know how to navigate. And I think that might be why that deck has not won anything. Now, it did take 2 of the top 8 this time, which I think is the most Blackwings that have topped 8. But both of those players were very well-known players with Blackwing as well, so it definitely could have won the whole thing.
I think the biggest downfall of the deck is it doesn't innovate. You look at every other deck, and it's innovated. You look at where Amaryllis started versus where it is now. You look at where Value was it is now. GBs, they were fighting for a long time, and the builds haven't innovated too much, but people are just starting to realize that it is a good deck. But Blackwings, everybody plays it the same. You play your standard, 15 to 20 monsters, your 5 or 6 spells, and then your 15 to 20 traps. And there's no innovation.
The most innovation that you see with Blackwings is people playing 6 draw traps. That's about all that we've really seen change in Blackwing.
I don't understand why people doesn't play Swallow Nest and then play the Wind statue. To me, I've been thinking about that, and I'm just like, it seems good in theory.
Yeah, historically, so when Blackwings get hit right after Edison, I think that's when Kalute and Whirlwind both go to 1. There were a lot of people that tried to make the deck work with stuff like Swallow's Nest, and I think that's probably underexplored. I think that there are matchups where Swallow's Nest into Barrier Statue becomes very, very strong. Like it gives you another way to just... It literally gives you a Fossil Dyna that you can Icarus attack away, which is really, really good at times. Yeah. So I think it might just be people are afraid to try new things with Blackwing because they feel like the deck is solved. And don't get me wrong, it's probably the most solved of any deck in the entire format, just because the formula for the deck is just... It's just like, what the formula for Blackwing is. It's very... I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I lost my train of thought. It's very obvious. That's what I'm trying to say. It's very obvious what the formula for Blackwing is. Like, you're not going to play less than 2 Whirlwinds. You're not going to play less than 3 Shura, less than 3 Kalute. So,
I think it's the same thing as like you have to play, the same 12 to 15 monsters no matter what. You can drop a few for here. You might be able to play like 1 Value versus 2 to play a little small 1 of tech card. kind of like GBs. You can either play, the 3 Prisma, or you can play like the Cat, but there's not much room for innovation on what you can and can't do.
Yeah,
You know,
your deck's engine, what it needs to function, is already so large as it is. It makes it hard.
yeah. So I mean, you can change maybe 3 to 4 cards for each build, but not more than that, really. I mean, that's probably the biggest downfall.
Yeah. We are seeing people play with the ratios of the Blackwing monsters themselves a little bit more. Like in the deep draw builds with 6 draw traps, a lot of people are only playing 2 Bora and playing 2 Blizzard, which can be good because there are games where you just open up a ton of Blizzards and they don't do anything.
No, I completely agree. Me and Blake played with the ratios for a long time. I actually went to 2 Blizzard for a while because I was just so tired of like dead drawing them early.
Yeah.
But then you find out you miss them late game and you need them bad. So it's like, dang if you do, dang if you don't.
Yeah.
And I felt myself wanting to have 3 a lot of times. Because
Yeah.
Blackwing can just outgrind you sometimes. Their early game can be a little rough whenever they see all the little wieners, but as the game goes on, I mean, they just grind through most stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just get to play a lot of cards that are unfair in the format. Icarus Attack and Kalut, which is just honest for direct attacks as well. So, but yeah, the tournament, I'm glad that there was a pretty good spread of decks. And I did hear about a couple bogus rulings at this tournament, ones that were very bad. Did you hear about the Stardust Dragon ruling?
I'm afraid I didn't hear about that one, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, so apparently at this tournament, Stardust Dragon was ruled. So, like, let's just say you Heavy Storm and I Stardust, right? Goes to grave. In phase, my Stardust effect activates to come back. You chain Royal Oppression and pay 800. Well, I can use Stardust Dragon's effect again. And you pay 800. I can use it again. And again. And again. So it got ruled to where Stardust Dragon's effect was the same as Vayu. So you couldn't negate it with oppression.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the one I heard the most people upset about. The other one was them ruling that quick draw doesn't activate, which that's never going to get ruled that it activates at a Konami event.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I get it. In modern times and modern card text, we get it. We get that it doesn't. But
Yeah.
back the way it was ruled is how it should be ruled. We all know.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to play the way the format was played back then, or it's not really a Time Wizard format. It's a modern Edison format, or whatever you want to say. You
Yeah.
have to stay to your rulings, or you're just, I mean, it'd be like us changing the ban list or something, or us using like updated card text cards and being forced to use the latest text. I mean,
Yeah.
could you imagine a modern Brio or any of the modern Go-Yo Guardian? I mean,
Yeah. Like the only deck that can make Goyo Guardian with its modern text is like literally X Sabers.
Yeah, so I mean, where do we draw the line? Like, we need to have judges, and once again, this goes back to our first topic of we need like a top 16 or top 24. We need a little bit better prizing. Well, we also need a little bit better officiating. It needs to be consistent across the board. If you're going to rule it at this one way at this YCS, but different at the Nationals, like, what's going on? Like, why are we so different?
Yeah, I feel like, at least as far as Lightsworn goes specifically, I know every ruling to every card in my deck, and like every ruling of how it interacts with basically every card, aside from weird stuff like Black Garden. But it's so scary at times when you play at one of these and you're like, I'll book your absolute zero, and now I'll Brio or I'll JD, that they might call a judge and the judge say, oh no, that effect activates, even though it doesn't. So there are times where it is scary because you just don't, like, the way it's supposed to work, but you might actually just get screwed because the judge rules it in the way that it would be ruled in advanced format.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane. Another one that really like irks my nerves, and I've actually been able to witness this one is, even though it's a one of, is Mind Crush. Why are we treating it like it's a modern card when we know how it was played back in the day?
Yeah, that actually has to go back and do with the fact that they use modern procedures for cards. So, like, that's the way that card is in advanced. Like, if the card doesn't say reveal your hand, you don't have to.
And
And I hate that. I think that card loses so much playability.
but back in Edison, we played a different way, and if we're going to stay true to the Edison format, that's how we need to play it. That's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
going with. I get in advance they don't have to because of the way it was, but unfortunately, back in Edison days, that's how we played the card. You revealed your hand. That's what made it so busted. And I mean, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, that card was ruled where if your opponent goes Stratos or Rhoda for Stratos and you Mind Crush and call Stratos is at 1. They can confirm it's not in their hand. They don't have to reveal their hand. But if they Rhoda for Armageddon Knight and you Mind Crush, then they had to reveal their hand because Armageddon Knight's at 3. So they could have multiple copies in their hand, and they could just be cheating. So the thing about it is now, and I've actually heard judges say this before, is you should probably just assume your opponent isn't cheating. That's a direct quote, by the way. I won't say who said that. It's no one that you even know, but I was like, why would I ever assume that? Like we're literally playing for $7,000,
Yeah, like why would anybody trust anybody? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but unless they're a close friend of mine, I'm not going to trust you.
Yeah, like I don't know you from anyone,
Yeah. So I mean, nah. I think it's terrible officiating, terrible rulings. I don't really care how advanced is played because we're a Time Wizard format. We need to be playing true to what it was. I mean, if all these other big, card games can do it, why can't we? I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's huge. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm seeing a lot of people actually leave at least advanced format Yu-Gi-Oh in favor of Time Wizard formats, as well as just leaving the game in general. Like I've seen so many people that formerly played Yu-Gi-Oh play Lorcana now and say that they'll never go back just because of the way that the way that everything is ran, the prize support, the way the tournaments are, the judging. I've just seen so many people say we'll never go back to Yu-Gi-Oh. And honestly, if it wasn't for Edison format, I would probably be one of those people too, because sometimes things can just be it can just leave such a bad taste in your mouth.
Oh yeah, Lorcana. I've been seeing it explode. I don't know how, but I ended up in a few groups just finding it kind of interesting, and the prize support's insane. It's like on the scale of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon, and then they just get it right. The prize supports are just out of this world, and the player base seems so much more friendlier. And I don't know. I don't get it with what Konami's trying to do. I feel like in the West, it's just Yu-Gi-Oh's just way different than it is like the OCG. I don't get it. I've seen some like videos on comparison, and the way it's ran out here is it's mind blowing. It's almost like they're against us.
Yeah, a lot of what players like as far as topping and doing well in Yu-Gi-Oh is like the glory of it. It's like you top a YCS, you just get like a rubber playmat. I guess you get a prize card, but they're not really worth what they used to be. And it's just the glory. Like you get to say I topped a YCS, which doesn't really equate to anything like outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, So
Yeah.
I would really like to see the prize support be better. And for Time Wizard, I actually don't feel like it's that bad, other than the fact that 4 through 8 only get a rubber playmat. But if they, made it like a little bit better, like I think top 4 should get prize cards, like the giant cards, instead of just the first 3. But yeah, like if they just work on that, work on getting us into like the top cut that we're supposed to have, top 16, 32, 64, whatever, that I think that I would be okay with it. Like the issues that apply to advanced format, like just no longer apply to me at all. And I get it. Like, I don't know if you heard about it or not, but they released a new core set a week before Nats that was legal for Nats, and it had like the new tier 1 deck in it.
No, I did hear about that. I heard a lot of frustration from players. The prices for the cards were just out of this world for the hype of it. Like,
yeah, I heard there were people at Nats like selling cards for like double what they were going for just because they were just scalping people because they needed them. So I think that was also a bad call. I don't think that they should be doing that.
And there's no way they look at the schedule at the beginning of the year and Konami's like, oh, it's a good idea for us to release a set 1 week before, America's biggest tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know it's a market strategy.
in some ways, it's like they'll do things that make a lot of sense. So in advanced format now, as you know, there's no scheduled limited and forbidden list. There hasn't been in a long time. It used to be we got one in the spring, we got one in the fall. For the past several years, it's just been they drop a list when they feel like it's necessary to make changes to the game. So there were a lot of people freaking out, like, are they going to drop a ban list the week before Nats, the day before Nats? So they actually came out and made a statement that the list wouldn't be until August. So they did that, which is nice. They changed the deck box for like topping one of their events to being like a double deck box instead of just like the single thing. So in some ways, I feel like they actually are kind of listening to the player base, probably the most that they ever have, but they're still kind of ignoring us in a lot of the other ways.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, again, it's like, dang if you do, dang if you don't, but I don't know. They need to be more in touch with the player base. I mean, running polls, listening to feedback, I mean, not dropping a ban list, it is a nice thing, but dropping a set is like the same thing as dropping a ban list, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I really wish Konami could get it together because Yu-Gi-Oh! Could be so much bigger in the TCG than it is, and it's just like they're their own worst enemy sometimes.
I also heard at Nats that there were several people that got game losses because they didn't hear that they called that the pairings were posted. So I guess they weren't doing online pairings, which that doesn't make sense when it's the largest tournament that there's been. They wouldn't do online pairings, but several people got game losses because they couldn't hear over the speaker. And that's one thing that I'll rant about here for a second is I've been to a lot of Konami events in my life. Like I started going to events in like 2013, so well over 10 years ago. I've never once heard a judge speak through a microphone that I knew, like, that they knew how to speak through a microphone. Because you can't. When I did a lot of theater and stuff in high school, like you learn how to speak through microphones. That if you try to just talk back and forth how I'm talking right now, there's so much echo and reverb in the room that no one can understand what you're saying because you're speaking at your normal speaking pattern. So you have to slow it down a lot and give time for the reverb and the echo to dissipate so people can actually hear you. So that's been a big complaint of mine for years. I already can't hear good as it is. I feel like I'm well over halfway deaf. And people just shouldn't be getting game losses because they're not hearing announcements. Like, I just don't think that should be a thing.
No, I mean, how many times have we looked at each other at an event? We're like, what did they just say? We can't.
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
Or they use those little cheap mics now that you can only hear within a certain radius. It's not even an intercom. It's just their mics really loud around them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you expect people to hear that? I mean, the last YCS we went to, they were using that. And I couldn't even hear.
No, I'm just like, I looked at my opponent, that it was round one, and I was like, I really hope it's nothing important because I can't hear anything. And then they didn't even come back down to the other side of the table and repeat. It was just it. Just like survival of the fittest kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they could have, said anything. I mean, who knows what they said. And then here we are just scrambling or playing a normal game, thinking it's this set of rules or that set of rules, and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, for Konami to be multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar company, that just shouldn't exist. You should be able to have good sound, good quality, stuff like that for your players. I just don't think that you should have bottom-of-the-barrel equipment like that.
No, and I mean, like me and you talked about many times, they literally print their own money. They literally print their own card sets.
Yeah, it's the closest thing you can get to legal counterfeit.
And while we're on this topic, another thing that would really probably help people to come in more is for whenever your entry packs is Edison related only or something, or at least Time Wizard. Nobody wants these advanced format packs.
Yeah.
I mean, some kind of I don't know, it could be Time Wizard only packs for all the Time Wizard formats, or it could just be Edison, and I would be just extremely happy.
I actually feel like we're about to get that.
I really hope so.
This is me putting my tinfoil hat on, but Konami has announced that they're stopping Speed Duel. They're going to print, I don't know, one or two more Speed Duel sets, and that's it. So Speed Duel will effectively become a Time Wizard format with air quotations. So Speed Duel, they have their own Speed Duel tournament pack where you get Speed Duel cards out of it. and sometimes they're very expensive. So I actually feel like they're going to do something like that for Time Wizard. It could be a complete miss. I could be completely wrong, but I really feel like next year that we're going to see significant changes with the Time Wizard stuff. I could be wrong. I could really stick my foot in my mouth this time next year, but I have very high hopes that with the success that they've had with these, they have to know that people want more.
Oh yeah. If anything, the new pack that's coming out in November, the Bonzo or Bonanza, whatever it is.
Yeah, the quarter century Bonanza.
Yeah, good set because it's supposed to have like 200 reprints or something like that from Time Wizard formats.
Yeah.
So that would probably be a really good set to start with, and then see where that goes. If it has success, then maybe it's time that we move more in that direction.
Yeah, so it said they'll have a 200 card nostalgia, like 200 nostalgia cards that are independent from the main set. So I feel like they're going to start printing band cards in that. Like a lot of people say, oh, the Konami doesn't print band cards. I know I'm one of them. I've said that many times. I feel like at this point that they know and they recognize that there are cards like Delinquent Duo, Trap Dust Shoot, Amaryllis, Royal Oppression, all of these cards that really need reprints because they're way too expensive. They're very scarce. I feel like they're going to actually start reprinting those cards. Like, you know how cool it would be to have like a super rare Trap Dust Shoot, or I'm not sorry, not a secret rare Trap Dust Shoot like reprint, so you can actually have a foil Dust Shoot that's not $600.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Or a secret oppression, or even a secret Caius. Where is our secret Caius?
Yeah.
I mean, that card's secret would look so good.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing, Konami? Why are we reprinting some of the stuff that we do, but we can't get all this other stuff in here? Like, I was so shocked whenever we got a secret hamster in Raikou.
Yeah. So, like, they know the stuff that people want. So I'm really hoping that they give it to us out of there, because every card that I just named needs a reprint. Every single one of them. And even others like Cold Wave never got a foil print. So I'd love to see even a super Cold Wave would just be so nice.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it seems like at times they're in touch. I mean, we literally just got a secret Stratos. I know we got a million Stratoses, but secret looks really good. We got secret Miracle Fusions recently. That looks really good. Never thought we would see that as a secret.
Yeah.
Secret Falso Dino, that was really nice and really well needed because Secret Falso Dinos were so expensive. So,
yeah, I mean, it's nice to have like a cheap, like nice rarity of Fossil Dino.
Yeah, so I mean, they obviously know what we want. It's kind of like they want to spoon feed us, and they only want to feed us on their time, and we can starve for months and months, and they'll be like, "Here's your spoonful," and then they'll just wait months and months, and here's you another spoonful.
Yeah, and two, it's like they haven't printed any of those cards in so many years. Like Konami doesn't make money off the secondary market. Like they don't make money off of Amaryllis being $100. Like that, no one's going and opening up Raging Battle to pull Amaryllis because you're going to be paying a lot more than $100, for a box of it. So if they just printed all of these cards in there, they're going to sell a lot of product because people want those cards.
And I'm afraid that's what they try to do with the spoonful is they hope that they can just spread it out. But if you just constantly give us reprints, we'll constantly buy. That's the thing. Yeah. As long as they're good reprints, you don't have to spread them out and only give one or two good reprints for the Edison community every other set. If every set had 5 or 6 or maybe 10 good reprints, I mean, we would buy it up. If I had a chance to get a secret Amaryllis, I'm going to go for it. If I had a chance to get a secret Dust Shoot in that same set, definitely going to go for it.
Exactly. So we're at 44 minutes, so we're going to start to wind down now, but we can end this talking about something I always find is very fun. We've talked about this a few times. So let's say that tomorrow Konami announces Time Wizard OTS Pack 1. What would your pick for the 3 Ultimate Rares be?
Oh, man. This one's tough.
This one's kind of throwing it out to you in the dark. This wasn't discussed prior, so...
Yeah, you know how I feel about ultis. I like them, but I hate them. I own a lot of ultis, but it's not my favorite. That's a tough one. I would love to see a rescue.
Rescue
Actually,
Cat?
I was gonna say, yeah, I think rescue cat. I would love to see it. Actually, I think it would look really good. Um,
Be an amazing ultimate rare.
it really would actually. I started to say it, and I was like, no, and I'm like, yeah, but it would look really good. I think. Um, another one I would like to see. I think Raikou as an ultimate would look really, really good.
It would match the other light sworns.
Yeah, I mean, one of those ones I was surprised it never got an ulti print because there's so many of them that do.
Yeah.
And for the last one, man, probably Sirocco because Value Ultimate, Armor Master's Ultimate, Silverwind's Ultimate.
It's true.
It would just kind of be good to see that, or maybe even like a Whirlwind. But I don't know how Whirlwind would look Ultimate though.
Yeah.
I think it would be like a Lure. Like to me, a Lure of Darkness is just one of the worst Ultimate rares ever because it's like it's not even there. I guess
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't look good.
Can see that. Can definitely see that.
All right, man,
So for my three, the first one I have is Trap Dust Shoot because it's played in Goat format, Edison format, and Tengu format. So a lot of uses for ulti Trap Dust Shoot. I think it would also just look so nice.
I agree with that.
The next one is Brionic. Would be a crazy ultimate. We already have Ultimate Trishula, so it kind of goes along with that. That would be super nice. Like that's like the one card in your extra deck you can't get ulti.
Yeah.
So I think that Brio would be really cool. And the last one is Absolute Zero because I think that would just go so hard as an ultimate rare.
Oh man, I actually agree. Now that you said Dust Shoot, there's not hardly any trap Ultimate Rare played in Edison format.
Yeah.
I mean, you see like Karma Cut from time to time being played, but outside of that, there's just I mean, people have like Ultimate Rare Solemn Judgments, but
Yeah, it's literally like just the ones you said, like Judgment, Karma Cut, and I guess Wind Blast, but that one's you don't see Wind Blast a lot now, so
I feel like Karma Cut's gotten way more popular out of the two.
yeah, I think so too. So Ulti Dust Shoot would be very nice.
Yeah, I would love to see something like that. I really don't like this new Ultimate Rare that they're trying to push on us at all. The Prismatic Ultimate.
Oh, I don't like that either. I would want it to be like the regular, just ultimate rares. I think the new ones just look like a sticker.
Yeah, they're so bad. So if it's the old school Ultimate, then
Yeah, we'll say it's old school ulti.
Man, that would be insane, and that would just really help the community out. It would really just make people want to like come and play these tournaments.
Yeah, because like now your max rarity goat deck isn't max anymore. Like I mean, I guess CP Dust Shoot's probably always max, but like, are you not going to get ulti Dust Shoot 3 of them for your goat deck? Because I would want 3 ultis.
Yeah. So now, I mean, if this is the only way you get it's by going to like Konami tournaments and stuff, people are going to be like showing up.
Yeah.
They're going to, oh, I gotta have this, and especially whenever more and more people start getting them, the hype just gets real.
Yeah. Probably the one downside of this, and it's just Konami just doing their thing, is they would probably be new erratas because they don't really want to print cards with the old errata, so it would be like new errata Brionic. But I mean, I think I would still take it though.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's something that I don't like. That it also reflects on the prize cards as well. Like for Raleigh, the big DMOC was like the errata DMOC, so I was like, ew, no.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. I mean, especially if it's going to be a prize support for a Time Wizard event.
Yeah.
I don't understand if it was for the modern stuff, but nobody uses a modern DMOC, so...
Yeah, DMOC could probably be a 3 in advance without an errata, and no one's going to play that card.
No. I mean, no. It waits to go off. I mean, until the end phase, it has no relevance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely none. Okay, well, I think that's about it for this episode. Do you have anything that you'd like to say before we get out of here?
I really wish zombies could have done good.
Still coping on the zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that deck just get better. I guess like I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways you can take it, and I know this is way out of left field, but I just want to see zombies do good.
I admire a man of consistency. So I what?
You'll probably hear this for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I wish that Lightsworn had made it into top 8. I was really hoping.
So close, man.
So close, man. Frozen Soul was so close. I think he got really unfortunate and got paired up against Glad Beast in the last round, and that's just not. That matchup is. I've tested it. I've played it. If you don't draw oppression, you just can't win. It's literally impossible to win. Like, pick your opening 6, and if one of them's not oppression, you can't win. Too much pressure, like you just end up getting Prismatest Tigered on your set Raikos, and your graveyard gets ready R8, and it's too much. So you'd have to draw oppression and just draw insane to win. So unfortunate bracket luck for him, but maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how this shapes the rest of the year, and maybe this will be a telltale sign of the format's expanding a little bit, or maybe we'll go back to the way value was. But it's good to see it refreshing a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, guys. Well, I guess that's about all we have for you on this episode. So this is Mike and Austin from the Edison Club signing out. Until the next one. Take care, everyone.